Welcome to Hallmarc HIRAC training. HIRAC stands for Hazard Identification and Risk Assessment and Control. It's a systematic approach used in occupational health and safety to identify workplace hazards, assess the risks they pose, and implement effective control measures to reduce or eliminate those risks. The purpose of HIRAC is to prevent workplace injuries, illnesses, and incidents, comply with safety regulations such as ISO 45001, the Office of the Federal Safety Commissioner, and WorkSafe, and to improve safety culture and operational reliability. Hallmarc requires any employee preparing a site risk assessment or a project management plan, or conducting site audits or inspections to be trained in HIRAC processes. By the end of this training, you will be able to understand what HIRAC is and why it is legally required, identify common construction hazards, assess risk using a risk matrix, apply the hierarchy of controls, understand how HIRAC links to SWMS and ISO 45001, and to fulfill worker and supervisor responsibilities. So what exactly is HIRAC? HIRAC is a systematic process to identify hazards, assess risks, control risks, and to review effectiveness. Why does it matter? It prevents injuries and fatalities. It's required under the Victorian OHS Act and regulations. It's mandatory under ISO 45001. And it supports safe planning before work starts. Legal and standard requirements in Victoria. Employers must identify hazards, assess the risks, eliminate or reduce risks so far as is reasonably practicable, consult with workers and health and safety representatives, and to prepare SWMS for all high-risk construction work. Hazard identification. So what is a hazard? It's anything with the potential to cause harm. Some common construction hazards include falls from height, excavation and trench collapse, mobile plant and vehicles, electrical hazards, silica dust and asbestos, manual handling, noise and vibration, weather and heat stress, and fatigue and psychosocial hazards. So how do we identify hazards? There's site inspections, job breakdowns, toolbox talks where workers are encouraged to speak up. There's incident and near-miss reports, safe work method statements of course, and worker consultation. Remember, workers are the best source of hazard information. Risk assessment. Risk is the equation of the likelihood combined with the consequence. So firstly, we assess likelihood. The Hallmarc site risk assessment options are rare, unlikely, possible, likely, and almost certain. The consequence options in the Hallmarc risk assessment are insignificant, minor, significant, major, and catastrophic. The Hallmarc risk assessment will automatically calculate a risk score that will be shaded as low, in green, meaning the risk can be managed with routine controls. Medium, in yellow, meaning controls should be improved. High, in pink, this needs immediate action. Then there's extreme. Stop, or do not start this work until the risks are controlled. Work with a residual risk rating of high or extreme cannot commence until further steps are taken. Remember, high-risk work must not proceed without controls in place. The hierarchy of control is a very important tool in health and safety. Controls must be applied beginning with elimination, simply removing the hazard if possible. Substitution. Use something safer. Then engineering. This is physical protection. Handrail, for example. Toward the lower end there's administration. Controls such as procedures and training. Then at the bottom of the hierarchy there's personal protective equipment. This is the last line of defense. So, let's look at a construction-specific example for working at heights. The hazard is falling, and the risk level is extreme. So now we consider controls from top to bottom on the hierarchy of control. First, is it possible to eliminate work at height? Then maybe consider EWP instead of ladders. This is substitution. Then there's engineering. Installing guardrails would be an engineering control, for example. Then we're down to administrative controls such as a permit system and supervision. Lastly, there's personal protective equipment. This might be a harness system and a helmet. High-risk construction work. HIRAC controls link directly to SWIMS. SWIMS are required for all high-risk construction work, such as work at heights above 2 meters and excavations above 1 meter, structural alterations, working near live services, and crane lifting operations. A SWIMS must be prepared before work, understood by workers, followed on site, and reviewed if conditions change. Let's look at roles and responsibilities. The employer must provide safe systems of work, conduct hazard identification, risk assessment and controls, and consult with workers. Supervisors must enforce controls, monitor the effectiveness of the controls, and stop unsafe work. Workers must follow controls and SWIMS. They must report hazards to Hallmarc, participate in HIRAC, and use their personal protective equipment correctly. Monitoring and review. HIRAC must be reviewed when work methods change, new equipment is introduced, an incident or near miss occurs, worker feedback identifies an issue, or by way of periodic scheduled reviews. ISO 45001 requires continual improvement, not one-off risk assessments. So, what are the key takeaways? HIRAC is mandatory, not optional. Always apply the hierarchy of controls. Worker consultation is a legal requirement. HIRAC supports SWIMS and ISO 45001 compliance. And, if risk is high or extreme, stop and fix it. Thank you for your time. And stay safe.